Love is a many splendid thing, is the April rose that only grows in the early spring. Love is nature's way of giving a reason to be living, the golden crown that makes a man a king.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook. For this episode, I'm joined by Mette Juul, whose album Celeste is out on Naxos very soon. Mette is a Danish jazz singer, and I'm really looking forward to discussing this album with her. It features Lars Danielsson and Mike Moreno, and it's a stunning album. I hope you enjoy listening to our conversation. Thank you for joining me on Harmonious World. It's a great pleasure. This is a lovely album. You have such a beautiful singing voice.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. So, and also I love the fact that you're with Lars Danielsson and Mike Moreno, who are both fantastic. I mean, multi-instrumentalists in the case of Lars, especially.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you played with them a lot?
Well, I recorded with Lars Danielsson. It must be the third time. And Celeste is the third album I did with him. Yeah. And I recorded with Mike Moreno on my last recording called New York, Copenhagen, which was released in 2020. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So there's so much to unpick in this in terms of talk to me first of all about how you chose the tracks.
Well, first of all, I've been wanting to record this album for some years, actually, especially after I did my recording with Mike Moreno, where we recorded it in 2019 and it was released in 2020, the album or the EP called New York, Copenhagen. I felt like celebrating the great American songbook and the world of jazz standards, mainly because many of these songs made a huge impression on me and had a huge impact on my musical development in my youth. And then Mike chose some of the songs and I chose some of the songs. And as we got going, it felt natural to add a couple of more modern tunes, such as Distance and a couple of my own songs. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really like your own stuff. So I tend to use little clips of the tracks through the podcast so that people can understand what we're talking about. So I started this with Love is a Many Splendid Thing, which it's a lovely song anyway. And then your version of it is very unusual. And obviously having a very sparse arrangement is lovely.
Thank you so much. It was new to me, actually. Mike asked me if I would like to sing Love is a Many Splendid Thing. And then I listened to it and I thought, wow, the lyrics are in a way quite old-fashioned, but I fell in love with it at the same time. It's got a lot of innocence to it. So I felt like, bringing it into the current time, modern arrangement of it. Yeah.
And actually in the middle, so we might as well do it now, I selected one of yours. So Northern Woods.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very interesting track. There's a lot going on in that, which I really like. So can you talk to me about how you composed it? What was the idea behind it? Is there a meaning to Northern Woods?
There's definitely a meaning to Northern Woods. First of all, the lyrics are important because they talk about taking a break from a stressed life. I feel that many of us are living stressed lives. So sometimes it's nice to, just take a walk in the woods, or maybe to sit on a stump and simply just watch the stars and remember that we're only humans, and there are things larger than us, such as nature. To me personally, it's important to remember these things. And the music is mainly by a Danish bass player called Thomas Fonnesbech, and he told me that I could change it a bit, so I could make a song out of it. It used to be an instrumental song.
There is a place in troubled times, a peaceful place to rest the soul for a while. When life doesn't turn out as it should, there's a light to find in northern woods. Hear how a whisper of trees sing melodies of a time long gone. Music you once left behind will always be here for you to find.
So that's got your influence lyrically as well as sort of
Musically.
harmonically and everything. Yeah, musically.
Yeah, I changed it quite a bit,
So.
but I was told that it was okay. So
Yeah, and it's joint credit, so it's fine. And then at the end, actually, I'm going to do the other original track, which is Where You've Never Been, for the end of the podcast, because I really like that one as well. It's another beautiful song.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, Where You've Never Been is actually about being more open-minded, maybe to learn from other cultures and be inspired by each other. Yeah,
We all need that, don't we?
yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so many beautiful cultures around the world, and other ways of living than we know in this part of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're very, in sort of Northern Europe kind of thing, we're all very I don't know, privileged, and we don't realize it. And there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Elsewhere in the world. And I think artistically and creatively, there's a lot going on that we don't tap into all the time.
Exactly. And sometimes I miss when I watch the news on the telly. Sometimes I miss good news, and to be taught about other ways of living and other ways of doing things in more exotic cultures. I think that it would broaden our way of living.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your background. How did you get into singing?
Well, I'm the first musician in my family, and but when I was a child, my mother was singing a lot, but just for the fun of it, because it felt good. And so that's how it all began for me, really, because there was this nice atmosphere whenever she was singing, but with absolutely no ambition. So it was just, singing from the heart, and not trying to to be perfect or anything like that. So yeah, that's how it began. And then I also sang in the school choir, and later on I got my first very old guitar by from a friend of the family, and I just began playing and making my own chords and writing songs. Accompanying myself at around 13, 14 or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the age when you either give up music or you take it up and it's stuck for life.
Yeah, and it was stuck for life, I must say.
Yeah.
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 And then later on, around, I think I was 16 or something like that, I was introduced to Joni Mitchell,
Oh,
the album called Don Juan's Reckless Daughter. On this album, you can hear a mix of her folk style, but being mixed into something more jazz, the jazz and
yeah.
singer-songwriter style. And I mean, I think that this album made a huge difference for my musical path, really. Yeah, because that's how I play today. I mean, when I play concerts, it's a mix of my own songs and jazz. It doesn't sound like Don Juan's Reckless Daughter at all, but I think there are definitely some inspirations there.
Yeah, she's another strong woman, isn't she?
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's meant a lot to so many singer-songwriters around the world.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think even if you don't sound like her, you can be, you know, have that influence.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Excellent. So how do people find out about you? How can they get hold of the album? Because it's not out yet, is it? It's out in November.
Yeah, it's out November 10th. And well, you can buy it on all digital platforms, but you can also get a real physical CD and a vinyl if you'd like.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And where are you going to be touring this?
Well, we're working on it. It looks like Mike Moreno is coming to Denmark in April, so hopefully we'll be able to play some concerts in April. Yeah.
Wow, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Because we went through such a terrible time with lockdown.
Yeah.
And then coming out of lockdown, we were constantly playing catch up with, you know, artists going to gigs, you know, planning gigs that they'd planned before that had been booked in, and it was all chaotic. Whereas now it feels like we can again be going, well, yeah, in 6 months' time, this time next year, the summer festivals, whatever. And we're quietly confident that that's going to be possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Isn't it wonderful?
Isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's lovely to have so much. I've just been planning some gigs in some dates in, you know, for gigs that I'm going to go to, and it's just so nice to be able to do that again, because there's none of that, oh well, we've got to wait and see what happens with COVID. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I don't think that we're going to experience lockdown again.
No, I don't think so. Thank you so much for joining me. It was really nice to talk to you, Mette.
Yeah, really nice to talk to you as well, and thank you so much.
Sometimes you meet someone and life takes a change.
Thank you for joining me once more for Harmonious World. What you're listening to now is Where You've Never Been.
Then you know you've met someone you very
This is another of the original tracks that Mette Juul has on her album Celeste, alongside some beautiful standards and more familiar tunes.
that there are ways to live
hope you enjoyed listening to that conversation. Please remember to rate, review and share this podcast if you enjoy listening to it. Maybe your friends will too. And you can also become a subscriber, which means you'll get a regular email from me and a monthly subscriber-only podcast. But thank you for joining me once more for Harmonious World, and I hope you have a really good week. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook, and it's a great delight to bring this series of discussions with musicians and composers and writers and all sorts of people to you. Obviously, there's no point in having a podcast if people aren't listening, and I'm very grateful to my listeners for doing so. Thanks also to Joe English for composing and performing this new theme tune. So wherever you get your podcast, you can leave a review. You can share this with your friends and family, either as a link or on social media and that sort of thing. I'd be really grateful for that. Don't forget that you can subscribe now. There's a link wherever you get your podcasts. So have a great week, and please remember why I started this, which is just to try and make the world a little more harmonious. Thanks for listening to Harmonious World.